Well, hey there, I'm Jay. Welcome to my booth. Today, we're going to take a quick peek at the Fifine Amplitank interface. This was sent along for the sake of this review, and it's an entry-level interface. So again, for folks just starting out, I figured it would be worthwhile taking a look at a really baseline, really affordable interface to see if it's worth it or if it's worth saving up. So we'll check that one out. We'll also take a listen to the Scarlett Solo from Focusrite, as well as the Universal Audio Apollo Solo. Before we dive in, if you like the stuff and you find it helpful and you think other folks might too, it helps them find us if you're willing to click the buttons down there. And then if you want to support me directly, you can just buy me a coffee. Never necessary, always appreciated. Let's hop in. So I've got the Amplitank plugged in here, and everything's running smoothly, and let's run it down. So right now I'm using the SM7B. I am using a Cloudlifter just to start off with. I'll take it off and we can use that as a sort of worst case scenario metric for these entry-level interfaces. But taking a look here, it's a really simple interface. The whole thing's made out of plastic. It's really light. It's got 3 knobs up here. The first one is for your XLR input on the left side. The next is for a TRS input, which can supposedly support a microphone or an interface, depending on your choice. This is the speaker output, so if you've got outboard speakers set up, this is the knob that you would use to control those. And then the headphone input here, it's got a direct monitoring switch, which turns on the live monitoring. If you don't know what that is, some interfaces, they'll have to send the audio signal all the way into your computer and then back through. So there's sort of multiple steps, whereas if you press this direct monitor button, the audio being routed to your headphones just loops through the interface and back to your headphones. So it provides less latency and just a faster and more accurate signal, generally speaking. The headphone preamp, right now I'm using really high impedance headphones. These are 250 ohm beyerdynamics. And if you have this interface, you're probably not using high impedance headphones to begin with. But right now I've got it cranked all the way up and I can hear it, but it's not super loud. And as I said, the levels that I'm looking at look fine. So let's try popping the Cloudlifter off and see what happens. Okay, so I've got the SM7B now running straight through, no inline booster at all. This is all the interfaces work. And it looks like it can drive the SM7B to respectable levels. It says in the paperwork, I think somewhere I read, that this interface can crank out about 50 dB of gain. And if so, this is a really healthy 50 dB. So this is the SM7B. I'll throw on a condenser for good measure just to see what changes. Okay, so we've got the TLM102 on here now. So this is the sound that this provides, and let's take a listen to the noise floor with this one on. And last but not least, this is the Fifine K699C, one of their entry-level condensers. And this is how this one sounds on the in-house interface. I'll shut up so we can hear the noise floor. Alrighty, so now we've got the Focusrite Scarlett Solo here. We're running the SM7B through the Cloudlifter. And the setup for this one is more or less the same. It's got a monitor wheel here for your headphone input, a direct monitor switch to turn that on your headphones or not. Here's the gain knob with the same sort of light indicator for your levels. Again, getting relatively healthy levels into the interface, into my recording software. And then the second one is a TRS input there. So functionally speaking, roughly the same interface in terms of the features that it provides. The Focusrite Scarlett Solo does have a metal casing versus the plastic one for the other thing, and I think this one costs roughly $50 to $70 more than the Fifine one. So I'm going to drop the Cloudlifter and we'll see how that one sounds. I'll be quiet real quick with the Cloudlifter so we can get a before after of the noise floor with the Focusrite. And here we are just on the SM7B. The gain is basically maxed out for it right now on this Focusrite Scarlett Solo. And this is how it sounds with no Cloudlifter. So sort of a worst case scenario for the SM7B here. We'll shush for a second and see what the noise floor is like. Okay, so here we are on the TLM102 on the Focusrite. This is how it sounds. And now I will be quiet so you can hear the noise floor here. And lastly, here is the Fifine K699C through the Focusrite. Here's how it sounds. Now I'll be quiet so we can hear the noise floor. And here we are back on the Universal Audio Apollo Solo. Again, SM7B through the Cloudlifter. This is how it sounds. Here's the noise floor for that setup. Here's the SM7B without the Cloudlifter. Again, no processing. And here is how it sounds on the Apollo Solo. And here's the noise floor. And here is the TLM102 on the Apollo Solo. This is how it sounds. And here's the TLM102 of the Neumann Persuasion on the Apollo Solo. No processing. This is how it sounds. And here is the noise floor. And lastly, here is the Fifine K699C, again on the Apollo Solo, and here's how it sounds, and here is the noise floor. Well, my friends, that is the comparison between those three interfaces and a few different mics. Now, let me know your thoughts down below, if you have any, before I jade you one way or the other. My opinion on the Amplitank Fifine entry-level interface here is that it's going to get the job done. If you're on a hyper-restrictive budget, you want to get into the game ASAP, and you want something like this, for $55, it's going to get the job done. Now, that comes with a heavy caveat in terms of its professional longitude in terms of voiceover. A lot of times when you're working with clients, they will ask for WAV files that are 48K and 24-bit. That is a file specification that is just sort of an industry standard in a lot of respects. And this interface cannot do that. It's capped at 16 bits. So I think for a lot of folks, as you're starting out, finding your feet, getting some just jobs under your belt, this could certainly serve you well. If, however, you have the latitude to wait and save up for something like a Focusrite Scarlett Solo, it's an extra $70, and while it does a lot of the same stuff, the amount of audio quality difference isn't going to be terribly dramatic from the Amplitank to the Focusrite. It's going to give you just the specs that you need for a lot of higher level professional jobs down the road. And then as far as higher level professional interfaces like the Apollo Solo, Apollo Twin, the new Neumann interface, etc., those I think are more so if you are just looking to get that next step. Those aren't really necessary. As I've said many times in many videos, something like the Focusrite Scarlett Solo will serve and has served many of my colleagues in professional VO circles for their careers, period. They've never switched from the Focusrite until it dies for whatever reason and moved on. So those are the thoughts. Let me know if you have any questions about this, anything else voiceover related down below. You can reach on my website. There's coaching on my website if you want to get more in depth. And until the next one of these, I will see you there, and be well. Toodles.